You ever wonder what it looks like when someone does a calorie reduction for 7 weeks and then runs a marathon and then runs out of water on one of the hottest days of the year and then gets 2 kilometres from the end of their marathon and realises they're going to just miss their best time, so pushes it really hard and never finishes the marathon because they just black out and wake up lying face down in the street? Looks like this. So Saturday, yesterday, did not really go to plan because the plan was to set the bike up for Alpe Du Zwift in here, then go out and run a marathon that would finish back here and jump straight into racing up the mountain. That idea encountered problems, the main one being me, unconscious, lying in the street. I'll come on to all that though, because right now, Sunday morning, when I came in here around 11 o'clock last night just to check it was all locked up, it was dark, the lights were off, except for a little glow coming from my screen up on the shelf, because sat there waiting patiently, as he had been doing since I stuck him there yesterday morning before the run, was my Zwift avatar, just waiting at the bottom of the Alp, twiddling his little computer generated thumbs, and I thought that seems a little mean not to give the guy his shot. So this morning he still sat up there. I'm going to ride up the Alp, and even better, because of the massive dehydration that I suffered yesterday, I'm still a couple of kilos lighter than normal, so win-win. Okay, just doing a quick little warm-up. I'm going to get started by 9:30, about 5 minutes, which means hopefully I'll get the whole thing done by 10:30 and complete both the run and the ride within a 24-hour window. Not sure why that's important, just sounds quite cool. I will see you shortly for the post-race commentary, sat down there, unless I'm not as recovered as I thought, in which case I'll see you maybe sat in hospital, who knows. Spoiler alert, that was yesterday and I'm clearly still fit and well. A couple of weeks ago, I asked you, what fitness challenge would you like to see me do? Options were a 12-hour Zwift racing session, a full-on FTP test, or a duathlon involving running a marathon and then climbing out the Zwift. The first 2 options got the most votes, and I will definitely be doing those in the future, but neither of them would have been suitable right now. I'm 7 weeks into a pretty harsh 8-week calorie deficit in order to be 6-pack lean by my wedding this Saturday. That calorie deficit means I'm much more tired than usual. My performance at anything physical is significantly down. So doing an FTP test while I'm like this seemed silly, and racing for 12 hours seemed nuts. But I do still need to train my endurance, because September 11 I am running a 100k ultramarathon. So my thinking was that the marathon run into the Zwift Climb challenge would be a good way of getting some running in and an overall training session of around 5 or 6 hours. I'm only a few weeks out from running that ultra, which could take at least 12 hours, so training for half of that should be doable. So here's how Saturday began. Okay, so here we go. Part 1, marathon. 3, 2, 1, go. Now when I set off, all seemed well. The weather was nice, it was not too hot, I felt pretty fresh. My hope was to run a really steady pace, not too fast, and get the run done in 4 hours. That's a 5-minute 40-kilometre pace, which is not quick, but is good training for the ultra, where to come under 12 hours, I would need to hit 7-minute kilometre pace. So I need practice at running slower than usual. Going off too fast over 100k would not go well. Okay, we are just over 5k in, or one cheeky park run, for those of you that measure units of distance in cheeky park runs. We're now down by the canal, which is a nice part of this run. So, good chance to explain what the hell I'm doing. No need to hear that because I've already explained what I'm doing. Instead, let's talk fueling, because the way things turned out, it would be easy to think that fueling was an issue. I'm not sure though. I had a high carb meal the Friday night and I ate surplus calories on the Friday overall. I didn't train on Friday. I had a breakfast of oats and fruit and a small amount of protein. I felt well fueled. And on the run, I took a Mountain Fuel bar, delicious. I had a pack of trail mix. I had a load of malt loaf bars. For a marathon distance, that would normally be way more than I'd eat. But I'm practicing for the ultra, of course, so I just need to get used to eating and moving all at the same time. At 45 minutes, I knew I was going to eat my first snack, just had to pick what I was going to go with. Okay, I've gone with the Mountain Fuel bar. 400 calories of yumminess. It's the one I like best. And although it's early in this run, I just feel like I need a bit of a pick-me-up. It's also going to be in my stomach the longest. And I know that I'm fine eating lots of these.
no digestive issues. In fact, on some of my binge days, I've rattled through 5 or 6 of these in one go, felt fine. That might be more a reflection of my stupidity than the quality of the bar. Talking of which, what I'm not going to do today is chomp through it all in one go. 400 calories is quite a bit. I'm going to spread it out over the next half hour or so and be sensible. Okay, that didn't work. I ate it all in one go. Was a good plan though. So it's past the time with a pace update. I'm doing 5:37s, just gone through 10k, which is not, I'm not super happy about that. It's inside the 5:40 I need, but normally at this point, a quarter of the way in, to hit high 5:30s, I'd be having to slow myself down. And now, I don't know what it is today. This feels about right, this pace. In fact, if anything, this pace feels tough. I can't breathe. Actually, that might be the issue, right?
So here's where stuff started going wrong. Only 10k done and finding it hard to hit a 5:40 pace. That is not good. The main issue at this point was my breathing.
Any doctors in the house? It doesn't sound good, does it?
Now I have exercise-induced asthma. That's why you often see inhalers lying around the place in here. Basically, if I use an inhaler before I exercise, I can do anything. If I don't use one, it can be a bit hit and miss. As a kid, I would end up in hospital, but as an adult, it's better. It's also more seasonal. In the winter, I can get away without using one at all sometimes, but in the summer, heat, hay fever, pollen, I can end up sounding like that. But I did use an inhaler on Saturday, a lot. For reasons unknown, it just wasn't working very well.
Okay, 1 out of 45 coming up on 19k. Snack 2, trail mix. To which luckily this morning I added salt. Lucky because my electrolyte tablets that I swear by, they simply stopped me getting cramp. I stuck them in my back shorts pocket this morning, intending to put them in a little sandwich bag to keep them dry, and forgot. So I went to grab one earlier. It was a soggy mess. So I have to hope the salt in this does the trick. Oh man, this is tough.
Actually, the salt did work. I didn't suffer from cramp at all. I did, however, suffer from stupidity.
About 300 metres from turning around at the 22k point, and my pace is at 5:41. My calculations before I set off tell me that that should be in time for a sub 4 hour. But my total time is now 2 hours 3. So I'm 6 minutes off. I'm not sure where.
A marathon is 42 kilometres, so the halfway point to turn around is 21 kilometres. I wasn't behind, I just ran a kilometre too far.
Okay, coming up on 2 hours 40, gonna tuck into my third snack. Malt loaf, gonna start it a bit early because I'm hungry. My pace is down to 5:38, so I've eaten into that. I don't know what effect that's gonna have. When I get to 10k to go, I better work out how likely I am to come in close to 4 hours, because I know how fast I can run 10k. Biggest problem right now, apart from not being able to breathe still, is that the sun has come out and I am low on water. I am right now, my quads hurt. The idea of getting on that bike and doing anything over 200 watts, let alone 300 watts, seems ridiculous. We will see, I guess.
So in summary, I'd picked up the pace, still not realised I'd run too far, was now cooking in the sun, and dipping my cap in the river and sticking it back on my head made zero difference. I'm low on water to drink, and I can't breathe. It's not going well, until 10k to go, when I benefited from a sort of mental pick-me-up.
So I couldn't work out why I was so far off at halfway. I've just realised I'm an idiot. I was over halfway. Half of 42 is 21, turn around at 21. Turn around at 22, I went a kilometre too far. When you don't get enough oxygen in, maybe your systems have to decide, do we keep him running or do we let his brain work? because we can't do both. Out of water, sun's out, can't breathe. So it's not all sunshine and rainbows.
The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows.
But it's better than I thought it was back there.
That enthusiasm lasted about 5k.
Okay, 5k to go. One cheeky park run. And I have got 29.5 minutes to do it, which any other day would be a walk in the park, or at least a jog in the park. Today, I mean, I should be able to do it, but man alive, I'm dead. Dead. I just want to get home and lie down. I don't know how I'm going to get on the bike, let alone ride it. This is still brutal.
The actual end of the run is not on film. I wish it were, because I wasn't awake, so it'd be fun to see it. If you have a dash cam and were driving past B&Q on the A33 at Reading and saw the sweaty jogger collapse, let me know. Here's what I do remember. That last 5k was insane, and not a normal insane. I've run myself very tired before. This wasn't that. I was beyond that. In my head, I was sprinting, and in reality, according to my watch at least, I was struggling to make sub 4 hours. I was staggering, not sprinting. It was hot, I couldn't breathe, I had no water. I can remember looking at my watch and seeing 40k coming up and thinking I need to pick the pace up for the last 2k, and suddenly realising I was going to have to stop. I remember thinking, what the hell, I'm actually going to have to stop running. In my crazy mountain races, it's lots of stop and go, but I haven't just stopped running in a normal run in years. I hit the stop button, I remember the beep, and then I woke up and my face hurt and it tasted like pavement. I got up onto my hands and knees and I realised that that was a mistake and I was going to go again, so I lay back on the floor. I told Siri to call Jenna. I woke up again and now Jen was in my earphones saying, hey, how's it going?
Challenge over. I'm over. Game over.
Yeah, I was pretty much done. So Jen came and rescued me, and if you're wondering, how annoyed would she be to see my caved in face 6 days before our wedding? Yeah, pretty annoyed. So obviously the bike ride did not immediately follow the run. I came home, I'd gone from 97.3 kilos to 92.5, so I just ate and drank very gently, and Jen did not let me get off the sofa. If you're thinking, how lovely, looking after you. No, she said stay there and work on your wedding speech, because if you're going to look like that, you damn well better be funny. So for what it's worth, the stats. 40k in 3 hours 48. So how I stayed on my feet, I would have squeezed under the 4 hours. Me and Nixon have run that same riverside path comfortably sub 4 plenty of times. Never felt like that before. While I'm on Garmin, body battery for the rest of Saturday, high stress, no surprise. But when I woke up yesterday morning, I had a pretty good night's sleep and a nice amount of recovery. I've done videos in the past about how accurate I find Garmin's body battery feature on the watch. Bottom line, it's often told me I'm under the weather before I even realise I'm under the weather. I like it a lot. So if it says I'm recovering, I'm happy. Which then brings me to the Alp climb. I didn't really have a target for the climb as such. Had it taken place straight after the run, the objective would simply have been get to the top. I knew it would be cool to be finished by 10:30 AM, so then at least the bike and the run were done in the same 24-hour window. My PB for the Alp is just over 59 minutes, but I figured that even getting close to the hour, let alone under it, was going to be very unrealistic given everything. When I say I had a nice amount of overnight recovery, it doesn't mean that I woke up feeling marvellous. So I printed off a bunch of the corner times that I hit on my very fastest climb up the Alp, which is a video from around December time, I think, if you want to go and check that out. So then I would know where I am in relation to that PB. And I just went for it.
And off we go.
Now what was going to be interesting was when I did that last climb, I was weighing 101 kilos. It's widely acknowledged you need around 3.2 watts per kilo to get up the hill under an hour. So last time I had to push 320 minimum all the way, which I did. However, yesterday, despite rehydrating and eating after the run, I still woke up at 95 kilos. 95 times 3.2 is 304, so a lot easier. So I did have a sort of vague idea that I'd try and average just above 300 watts for every section. And conveniently, Zwift shows your average watts to each individual corner as you go. For example, you can see here, as I go around corner 21, I'm at exactly 300 watts. I knew I could never maintain that, but I thought I'll try it as long as possible. And on I go. And the first few corners were actually pretty frustrating. I was hitting my 300 target and really close to my overall time from the PB climb. Corner 18, for example, 301 watts, and I go past at 10:37, 10 minutes 15 on the PB. So I'm close to that speed, but I know there's no way I can hold this pace. My quads are on fire, my pulse is around 160, I'm just riding, waiting to hit the wall, sort of grimly anticipating the inevitable. But I do keep hitting those average wattage numbers. Let's jump to corner 10, because I know that's the halfway point. Last time I targeted myself to get there in 30 minutes or less, to go sub 1 hour, and I did it in 28:29. So I was well up on what I needed. I can remember thinking last time at that point, job done. It's now just a question of how far under the hour I'm going to go. This time around, 28:50, slower but under half an hour still. And it did cross my mind, this is hurting a lot, it's way worse than last time, but it's only half an hour to hang on. So I just keep focusing on hitting those wattage numbers every corner and trying to drink, which was tricky because my mouth doesn't work properly.
The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows.
Corner 6 was the make or break. It's a long one. It took me 5:20 last time. I got there at 42:22. This time, 5:28, 42:41. This might actually be sub-hour. Now that was the very first corner where I averaged under 300 watts. So I made sure the next one I definitely went above. And corner 2 was where I knew I had it. Last time, 2 minutes 20 to get there, 53:12 total time. This time 2 minutes 14 and only 3 seconds off the overall PB time. And corner 1, 3 seconds faster over that section than last time and 1 second behind overall. Simple plan for the last few minutes. Do not let the wattage go anywhere near being below 300. This last section to the top was not pleasant, but knowing it is going to happen is an amazing pain relief. And the only remaining objective was to just not go slowly across the finish line, because that's embarrassing, which meant waiting until 59 minutes before allowing myself to sprint.
Go! Go! Come on! Come on! Come on! Come on! Oh!
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. It is amazing how achieving something gives you a little bit more energy. I even had enough in the tank after that to give my man a little shove as I get him started on the downhill.
Go, little man.
So that was pretty cool in the end. In fact, the only downside to the climb was that despite writing down all these corner numbers, I'd not written down my actual total PB time. Turns out it was 59:09, so I missed it by 6 seconds, which I could have made up on the last sprint had I known, maybe. People don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. I should have had 59:09 engraved on something. So what have I learned? I don't know really. I'm not sure if the run to failure was due to heat or water or calorie deprivation or all of those, but it was definitely nothing other than those. I just need to make sure in the future I avoid those mistakes again or run it in a crash helmet. The breathing thing is a bit weird. Even now, talking, it's not great, but every few years I'd have a couple of months where it's worse than normal. Some doctor did tell me once in the past that sometimes there are different grasses or seeds that release pollen at different times of the year, and sometimes you get a sort of perfect pollen storm. I can't really remember. It's not that bad. And happy enough with the Alp climb despite missing that PB. What I can't wait to do is get back to maintenance calories, which is close to 1,000 a day more than I'm currently consuming, and then ride at this sort of 95, 96 kilo point. That is going to be fun in races. Oh, and lastly, I had planned to say something about whatever caused it, exercising until you pass out is not to be advised, and blah, 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 a little public service safety announcement. But quite frankly, YouTube is filled with people doing all sorts of nonsense, skydiving off of buildings and mountain biking down the side of cliffs. So some old bloke jogging in the sun with a little bit less water than he really should have is probably not the most life-threatening thing you could find on here today. If you think this looks fun and you want to emulate it, you just go crack right on. You'll probably be in less danger than if you copy the kids doing parkour around the supermarket car park. Okay, I am done. Maybe one more video before the weekend and the wedding. Otherwise, very, very early next week will be the final video in the 8-week fat loss journey. Do I get married with a six-pack? We will see. I hope so. It is not as though I am not trying. Please like and subscribe. Got any questions, got any feedback, stick it all down below. And if you want to point out that statistically, dehydrated old men do die disproportionately more often than 14-year-olds doing somersaults over the wheelie bins at Asda, don't. My wife-to-be has already told me.